Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Grain Gauntlet. A little bit of a new format here. This is also kind of a year-end edition. We are recording this on Monday, the 29th. It's going to end up going out on Wednesday, the 31st. So we have some look-ahead questions here. As always, 5 questions. 4 of them are from current clients, and 1 is from a prospect. And that is Patrick on the screen joining me. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm separated from you because the wind 50 miles per hour in Wisconsin with snow.
Yeah, it's fun out there at all today. Okay, here we go. First question. Will there be an increased selling pressure coming after the first of the year for corn or soybeans?
Typically, the first few days of the new year will lead to farmer selling. Although this year, because prices stink, I don't think it'll be very great. It'll be over pretty quick.
Why is that they have that typical selling after the first year? Is it just because new tax year and
Exactly. People want the income in the new year.
okay, all right. Next question says, what would the end of the Russia-Ukrainian war do for price direction?
Long term, it will be bearish because both the countries be able to move grain freely again and produce everything that they possibly can produce. Short term this year, I don't see any effect at all.
Okay. Yeah, I know there was an escalation today. Putin is accusing Ukraine of trying to attack or bomb his residence. So it doesn't seem like it's going to get wrapped up before this airs, that's for sure.
Yeah, it could be a long time down the road. It could be very quick. Either way, it won't affect us dramatically. That's what I think the question's leading to. Will we have a big reduction in price because there's peace? No.
Okay. All right. Do you think there will be a run-up on corn going into the January WASD in anticipation of a yield cut?
I do. I think the risk for traders that aren't hedging, not farmers, but traders, speculators, is to the top side, not to the downside. We have a very long-term bottom being formed right now. That's a very strong support level. What is the risk? The risk is that USDA cuts yield or increases demand so that ending stocks come down and becomes a more friendly number. If that happens somewhat dramatically with a 3 or 4 bushel decline, or even that with a small increase in exports and overall demand, which should happen, we could see a very bullish report. So I would expect shorts to liquidate in both corn and beans before that report. And that should push us up to 470-ish in March corn. Beans, I would expect to be over $11 before that report.
Okay. All right. Well, this next question does tie into that. It says, how much of a yield cut would be needed for either or both corn and soybeans to drive a significant rally following the January 12th report?
We don't need any yield cut. We just need the funds to say, hey, there's more risk to the top side and the bottom side. If the funds buy, we're going to go up, okay, because farmers aren't selling, okay, now at this price. We rallied more last year on funds buying than on fundamental change. The fundamental change came very slowly during the course of the year. Yes, we had a bullish USDA report. That will definitely help. Bullish report. 3-4 bushels less in corn, a half bushel to bushel less in beans will definitely spur the market. But we could rally without that if the funds decided that, hey, I'm going to be long down here because there's no risk to the downside from this price level. It stinks. And there's some risk to the top side.
Okay. I know what I'm seeing now is that the estimation is that a 2 bushel yield cut from corn is kind of priced in and expected. So anything more than that, taking us down like beyond 184 or lower, might get the attention of the markets. And that there's actually some people expecting them to potentially raise soybean yield, which that would surprise me, but they're saying it's because of record pod counts. So
we'll see. What is said out there by the so-called experts are never right. So bottom line is we're at a really stinky price. That gives us a solid bottom.
Okay, good. All right, final question from a prospect. I took this question myself. This was a real general question. The potential client asked, what do you think is in store for us in 2026? Better prices or more of the same?
Normally, we have these kind of flat markets and we build a strong base with flat prices, and then all of a sudden, boom. We haven't been out of the tight range in beans for 18 months. 18 months. That's a long time. We are building demand. Crush is fantastic. Domestic use is really good. We're finding new uses for soybeans and corn all the time. I would expect that ethanol exports will pick up throughout the year for here in the U.S. Bottom line is cheap prices create better demand, and that will lead to higher prices. We've had several years of good weather in a row without even a threat in the summer. I expect a much more normal summer. Everyone's prepared for rally in February and then boredom the rest of the year because that's what we've seen for 2 or 3 years. We're conditioned for that. I'll bet you we have a spike up in the summer this year.
Okay, good. Yeah, and one of the things that was taking place the last 3 years was we were losing some of our exports. If this deal does hold up and China does buy, say, the 25 million metric tons, that would put them on par with a number that we would have likely been underneath by now if nothing had been done. So hopefully that helps us as well.
290 million bushel ending stock in beans is tight. It's not loose. All we need to lose is 100 million bushels in its pipeline. Okay. That's $14 beans. I mean, this thing can go crazy. We haven't seen it for 2 or 3 years. We're set up for that. The market does what everybody doesn't expect it this year.
All right. Sounds good. Well, that's all for this week. And that's all for this year. We'll be back with you guys again next week, next year, a whole new round of questions. Thank everybody for the questions. If you want a question answered, send it to adminstaff@hedge-plus.com. Aside from that, everybody have a great New Year's.
Have a great New Year's. And Josh, thank you for not making me drive 30 miles in this weather today. Happy New Year.
Bet. Take care, everybody.